Alright, hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today, Sonny and I are going to be exploring an abandoned psychiatric center. It's kind of been a minute since we've gotten the chance to just come back to a classic, asylum or psychiatric center. It's personally one of my favorites to be able to explore. Just with all the history left behind, there's just so much to uncover, so much to talk about. I think we're just going to hop right on into it. Let me just take you around and show you what's going on here. So right now, we're basically right next to the gymnasium and auditorium kind of area. Right here on the first floor, so now we're gonna make our way through these doors and show you the gymnasium. So here we go. This is the very large gymnasium. It's definitely really beat up compared to other gyms I've seen. Probably gonna head down here in a little bit and show you guys a up close look, but here's like the general overview. The floors be looking wavy, and that's what a lot of water damage will do over time. Everything just gets all messed up. So I just made my way down the steps, and as you guys can see, this place has had a number done on it. Like, the water damage, everything has left the floors like completely busted, super wavy. As you can tell, it just looks nuts. I'm sure people who like skateboard would love this, probably. It's just interesting, but very weird at the same time. Like, you never expect to see a place look like this. It's just like, I don't even know how to explain it. Everything's like super mushy. It almost looks like it's burnt, but it's not. I think it's just, water damage over time and everything. Really, really crazy. Then we got one of the hoops. And we got the old board too, everything like that. Still surprisingly not falling onto the ground. Especially when you see it all looking like this, you would think everything would just be like completely tattered at the seams, but some stuff seems to be holding up okay. Like the ceiling, for example. Usually there's like a giant hole somewhere. Still really cool. Definitely more beat up than some of the other places I've taken you guys, but nonetheless, I still love it. Like I said, there's a lot to be said about the history. I'll probably go in more detail on that as we make our way through here. They even got a treadmill up here too. Very, very dusty. Who even knows how much asbestos is in all this? But very old school too. You can tell it's very dated. I mean, this place did shut down in 2006, so I would expect as much. This feels very 2000s to me. So we just left the gymnasium and we came across this like handicap user elevator that helps them kind of just navigate around stairs. So it is kind of cool to show this and remind people that when you think of a psychiatric center, they also did care for physically disabled patients and not just people with mental illnesses. Something, I think that's kind of a big misconception around psychiatric centers. So yeah, I just wanted to show that real quick. So now we just made our way into this room that was like designated for Friendship Club. That sounds like very familiar to me now, and I know that they still run Friendship Club today, but I've never really been part of it. It just seems like a place that like people can like hang out and be like, friends with one another and like kind of like sense of community. So I think it's interesting that it's here, but granted, this location did have a very holistic approach to their treatment, which really focused on like, I don't know, like just all these activities for patients, really having them involved and not just the conventional treatments that we see in other psychiatric centers. So I don't know if this is maybe a component of that. Kind of interesting though. And then here's the actual room. It's really trashed. I mean, I think this place has gotten a fair share of like vandalism over the years. I mean, it just happens. But yeah, I guess this is maybe like a spot where like, I don't know if like Friendship Club has like a cooking part of it. Maybe you guys like make a meal together or something. I'm not really sure. But that's the vibe I'm getting from this space. You see things like that kind of usually would hold like coffee and other stuff like that. So I don't know. Very weird, but cool to see. So I think they like had a fryer too, and this oil it's so thick. I don't even know what that is, what creation they came up with, who even knows, but this place has been abandoned since 2006. So this has been aging here for a little bit now. It's just a little gross. It's just like smell a little funky too in here. And it also seems like we got a cloth calendar dated from 2004. So kind of right around that timeline of, you know, this place shutting down in 2006. And actually, from the more I'm reading about this like friendship club and all the papers that are here talking about it, it seems more like a self-help kind of group, like supporting each other through like drug and alcohol abstinence, which I guess makes sense. I mean, people who come into these types of treatment centers have a variety of things that are going on in their lives, and so it's probably really helpful for them to feel like they have some sort of community to lean on in those times, especially because a lot of them are going to be going through withdrawal while they're here, along with whatever else they're going through. So, yeah, seems like that's what's going on here. And now we're just getting a complete blast from the past, like a payphone, which, I mean, of course, they would have one of those in here. Like, usually the patients would not be allowed to have their own phones, or phones probably wouldn't have even existed, like, you know, individual cell phones back then. That's super reassuring. Welcome, Devil's Home. And they even had pool tables, and this is not even the only one. They had a few more as well, but definitely nice nonetheless. You know, get to be able to play some pool while you're getting treatment here. Not living too bad, I would say. So here's a little hint as to where we are right now. We got these bowling shoes. Pretty cool to see these left, and just to imagine like the patients wearing them and playing here. It's just so strange, and like I feel so far removed from it all, but super cool to find these. And as for here, these are all the seating areas for the patients, I guess, when they're, you know, waiting for their turn to play. And then this is the, you know, the main area where everyone was playing. We got 2 ball returns and a few different lanes as well. I think it's 4 lanes. And here as well, we got not something that you're gonna be used to now, I guess, for anyone who plays modern bowling, but we have these classic old papers, so you would, you know, keep a tally that way. You're, you know, tracking each turn how many pins you got down and things like that. Definitely different to how we play today. We can even see sheet 31,290. So I think they played a good amount of games back in their day. And here's the ball return. We even got a bowling ball left. I know me and Sonny were kind of surprised. Usually we don't see a lot of these left in places like these, so that's kind of cool to see as well. You can see the entirety of the ball return, and then there's the 4 lanes. I'm gonna make my way down a little bit and I'll show you what it looks like kind of towards the end. So here's what we're working with down here. Very grimy, completely fallen apart. Very also like weird, just you never feel like you're gonna see a place like this in this kind of a state, so it does feel like a little like jarring in a sense. And then here we just gonna see the kind of like the working mechanisms of all these machines. So if you can't tell, these are all like what would grab the pins and adjust them and fix them all up. This is all like in the back where it's like all the probably employees that were involved here on this part of the campus would work. So this is actually a really cool find. This is a bunch of notes talking about all the different patients that were here. And this is specifically the school program that the psychiatric center had. So it talks about how like maybe the patients had certain goals that they wanted to work more on, like their, like this client, it said like math and English skills. And some of these notes, I think this one specifically is from '93, just talking about their efforts, and even there's like other ones here. Let me show you guys. Like this one's Ernie, also from '93. English skills were solidly at a high school level. Math skills at an 8th grade level. It's like this is the stuff that I live for when I come into places like this, seeing all of this like really personal stuff, just telling a story. It's just wild. And there's just like even more like workbooks and things. You can see this one has like, what's it, grading on it. I think like 96%, 18 out of 20. Still just, I don't know. This is, like I said, this is the stuff I come here to see. This is just like those little details that are so personal to the story that's kind of buried here. So we kind of made our way a little bit back towards the main center of the building, and we are going to hit the auditorium now and show you what it looks like. I'm pretty hyped for this. I always like how these look, so let's go scope it out. You can still see the lights and the curtains. And the only reason, let's be real, the only reason that they're intact is because they're all the way up there. If they were, you know, hanging down to the ground, someone would probably like cut them all up by now and stuff, but it is what it is. Use that piano again from the, I guess, stage perspective now that we're up here. And again, I like that you can always see the like inner workings. And I think Sonny was actually trying it earlier, that none of the keys are actually seized up, so you can still play it. And as for the other guy, I think you guys can tell me if you think this is still salvageable, but I think it's just a little past its prime. So, I mean, Sonny found another one of these rooms, even more stuff related to like patient activities and things. This is a ceramics room, so they could do like pottery. You could see like the kilns. And we also noticed that everything is like super charred in here, and that's because this entire room was on fire. You can tell it too because of like the, like all around the upper parts of the walls, you see it all pitch black. So very likely a case of arson. Not super surprising considering a lot of people do that in abandoned buildings. Don't really know why people think it's like fun to do that, but you know, people do it, so. But it's definitely weird to think about. We're standing in a place where this entire room was like completely ablaze. It's just so weird to see it like this. Here's a more up close look at what I would imagine that these are the kilns. So again, just really cool to think about that. Like they had such an extensive amount of activities they could do here. And again, it's not to downplay the fact that there was significant mistreatment and abuse here. But it's just a very different approach. Like this is definitely not what I have seen as like the conventional treatment plan at other psychiatric centers that have been abandoned. But I don't know. I don't want to make it seem like I am like over glossing or overlooking all the negatives here. And of course, after you you know, make your ceramic piece, whatever you're making, you got to paint it. So they actually have all the swatches here for the different paints that they had, or they call them, I think, glazes. So you can see all the different options. And then they have, this is like the storage option for all of the ones that are left. And I see, of course, the one that pops out of my mind is sage, which I love that color. But yeah, so it says river rock glaze, something washed glaze. Again, I'm not like the artsiest person, but if you are, you could definitely educate me about this a little bit. And yeah, I don't know, cool finds. And I actually just noticed here on some of these like shelving unit things that there's some pieces left here. And I guess it's a little bit different than what I'm thinking of, which is like pottery, but I guess with the ceramics you maybe had like specific shapes that you could mold it into, so you had like preset options that you could pour into, and then you'd know exactly what you're getting out. So we have some of these. You can even see like a picture frame up there. I'm actually kind of surprised that these don't look more beat up considering that they survived a fire. But yeah, there's still a few of them here. Very likely that patients made these and were planning on coming back and painting them or whatever they were going to do before this place shut down. So it's just weird to think about that. It's just so odd, and I don't know, it feels haunting in a way. So we're kind of hopping all over the place right now, and we just saw this, and this is probably the most flooded I have ever seen a room. Like it's easily like 5 feet of water. And I mean, it did have a crazy downpour. I think it was 2 days ago, but like not enough for all this. So I just thought it was crazy and I wanted to show you guys. Okay guys, last but certainly not least, we found these awesome projectors. So right through these really dark windows is down where the theater was. And we knew, like looking up here, that there was definitely some projectors. There usually always are on some upper floor somewhere. You can actually see quite a few indicators here. Like we see these things saying stage lights and all these other things that, you know, tying together. You know, when you're doing a big production, you gotta have the projectors, you gotta have the lights, everything going together. So kind of knew we would have to work a little bit, make sure we found these before heading out. We have to get a better look here too. We see like all these like gauges, knobs. And over on this one too, you can see like I'm not misunderstood, because again, you know, I've never seen these work, but if I understand correctly, this looks like, you know, where a big film reel would get, you know, stuck in, as well as I think there's probably another one on the bottom there that you could do. Now sometimes these open. I've seen in other locations this is like open and you can see like the interior workings of it, but I couldn't get this to open up for the life of me. I don't know. Either way, it's just super fascinating. I always like seeing these things, and knowing how dated they are. Usually you have to think that these have been here for quite a while. They last for a long time, so most asylums have them probably dated back from when they were originally produced in the 50s. Like, I found some older advertisements and things that talk about these coming out in like the 40s and the 50s era. And I don't know, just it's very likely that these are up there in age. And down here with all these numbers, these are usually where I believe more of the film reels would be stores. Maybe if they weren't in use, obviously they probably would have opened up a little more smoothly than that back in the day, but I don't think anyone's been up here and greasing them. Those are those. And then over here too is talks about how you can thread the like film reels properly, and so I don't know if they have to do two in conjunction. Again, I'm like, you know, this is older stuff. I don't know much about how this works. I just think it's fascinating. And for anyone curious on how to properly thread film like myself, considering that I have no idea how to do it, there we go. We got some instructions right there. They make it nice and easy for you.
Alright guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed walking through this abandoned psychiatric center with me. Definitely filled with so many cool finds, and I'm glad I could share that with you. If you did like this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and of course, like always, I'll catch you in the next one.